Hello, and welcome to Maya Angelou Hour on PBS, Prairie Broadcasting.
Today we're joined by the world-renowned civil rights activist and poet Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou was born on April 4th, 1928. She was born Margaret Annie Johnson, but was nicknamed Maya. So Maya, you've had a troubling childhood. Would you like to tell us more about it?
When I was 8, I was raped by my mother's boyfriend, and after that troubling experience, I went mute for about 5 years. During this time, I discovered many authors and even toured the world in the opera Porgy and Bess. And this is how I kind of got introduced to poetry and how I started writing poetry.
And now let's take a close look at 3 of Maya Angelou's most famous poems. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, Still I Rise, and Touched by an Angel. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays, and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams, and his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. The bird in the poem connotates people discriminated against because of their race or gender during the 1960s when this poem was written, and inequalities were a huge issue. These people felt trapped like the bird in the poem because they were limited to their rights and didn't have the freedom to do the things that others could. Repetition is also used, as seen in stanzas 3 and 6, as they are the exact same stanza. And it's repeated to emphasize how although the bird is trapped and scared, it still sings and is optimistic. And because it is optimistic and strong, it cries and can be heard on the distant hill, and for everyone to hear. The repetition of the phrase, his wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing, at the end of stanzas 2 and 5, is used to emphasize their cry for help, and although they are trapped, they are not giving up without a fight and are trying to stay optimistic in a dark time. Also, there are a lot of words that are contradicting each other, such as positive words, such as the free bird leaps in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. And also, the free bird thinks of another breeze and the trade wind softs. And also in the line, he names the sky his own. Negative language contradicts the positive language through the lines, but the bird stalks down his narrow cage, and fearful trill, and also through the words grave of dreams. These contradictions are used to display the struggle of desiring freedom, but knowing that what they want is far from reality of being encaged. The overall message that Maya Angelou is giving through this poem is to make the best out of being caged and not accepting it, and to remain strong and optimistic in a time of darkness and despair. To let your voice and opinion be heard, and not to let other people hold you down or keep you from achieving what you want.
We, unaccustomed to courage, exiles from delight, live coiled in shells of loneliness, until love leaves its high holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives, and in its train comes ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient histories of pain. Yet, if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. We are weaned from our timidity into the flush of life's light. We dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love costs we all are and will ever be. Yet, it is only love which sets us free.
Touched by an Angel is one of Maya Angelou's most powerful poems. The poem has no rhythm, but it flows as if it did because of the word choice. Angelou also uses personification to compare human qualities to emphasize certain emotions. This poem is very powerful to Angelou because she had problems with trust due to the hardships she had earlier in life. The meaning of the first stanza is that everyone is lonely until they find love, but love is a godlike thing and almost has magic-like properties.
There are two literary devices in the poem. The first one is a metaphor, which is love coiled in shells of loneliness. Then there's personification, which is the last two lines of stanza, or the Then in the second stanza, the meaning is love often brings bad memories and pain, but if you are able to be brave and fall in love, it can take all that fear and pain away. The only literary devices is personification, and it's pretty much the whole poem. In the third stanza, the meaning is, once you are no longer afraid of love and trust, you will see that love has consequences, but it is the only thing that will set you free. Once love takes over, you are free, and all you need to do is be brave and trust. There is personification in the second and third line. In the flush of love's light, we dare to be brave.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still, I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my hardness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Maya Angelou's Still I Rise truly proves that Maya is one of the greatest poets to have lived. Angelou used her personal experiences and beliefs to create this beautiful and empowering poem. As a black woman during the civil rights movement, Angelou faced much oppression throughout her lifetime, and she gives voice to that issue in her first lines, "You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies." Maya Angelou begins the poem with a serious tone, but changes tones throughout the poem, back and forth from a serious to a playful tone. You can see the changes highlighted in green and purple. The lines highlighted in green give the poem a playful tone, while the lines highlighted in purple give the poem a serious tone. As you can see, Angelou ended the poem in a serious tone to emphasize the importance of the issue of black oppression. Angelou shows many of her strengths as a poet in Still I Rise with the use of many literary devices such as metaphors, similes, repetition, personification, and the use of strong diction. Highlighted in blue and light green is repetition and personification throughout the poem. The metaphors and similes, along with the diction in this poem, give more emphasis to the meaning of the poem. Diction, highlighted in red, such as still and certainty, is important in stressing the intensity that Maya Angelou successfully transmits through her poem. The similes, along with the diction, make for a stronger argument. By comparing herself to the inevitable actions of nature through the similes highlighted in orange, Maya Angelou strengthens the certitude of her intended action. And finally, highlighted in pink are the metaphors.
Thank you for being with us today, Maya.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.